Hello everyone and welcome to the video, and today I'm looking forward to this one. We're doing the most overrated fighters in the UFC in every weight class. I've got a lot to talk about, and I'm going to be quite a harsh critic, let's just say that. So yeah, let's dive into things. We're going to go from flyweight to heavyweight, by the way, so let's go. Right, flyweight, we've got Kai Kara France. This guy makes it out like he's the best striker, but then he gets pieced up by Brandon Moreno, who's more of a wrestler, and he got a title shot after beating Cody Garbrandt, who has no chin. Cody no chin Garbrandt. This guy is very overrated, and I don't ever think he'll be champion. But I don't think he's a bad fighter. I just think he's gonna be like a gatekeeper to the top five forever. And he's decent at striking, but he isn't good enough that he can just rely on it to win him the championship fights. Because other championship fighters in flyweight are just as good as him. And obviously, it's a very demanding weight class. It's one of the most high skill weight classes in the entire UFC, because the general rule is the lighter you are, the more skill you need. But yeah, I think he's overrated. He'll never be a champion, I don't think, and he always loses to like the Divison Figueiredos or the submission specialists or Brandon Moreno, who's a bit more wrestle heavy, but he's also piecing him up on the feet, which is bad for Kai Kara France's future. So I don't really know what he should do, but yeah, because he's pretty small, so I don't even think he could move up to bantamweight and have success. But anyway, that's all for him. Moving on to bantamweight. Now, some people are not gonna like this, but it's just my opinion. So you can always tell me in the comments I'm wrong. We've got Marlon Chito Vera. Now, I know he's technically beat Sean O'Malley, but let's be honest, it was kind of a fluky win. He didn't mean to kick his it was something to do with the nerves within his knee. He didn't mean to do that. He got lucky, and he was actually losing the fight anyway. And he does have few good finishes. Obviously, he finished Dominic Cruz quite recently with a head kick KO in like the fifth or the fourth round, I think. That was impressive, but it's Dominic Cruz. He's very old, and he's not fighting prime Cruz, and also Cruz is kind of a good matchup for him. He's not really a threat of a knockout, and I just really don't think he's been tested properly yet. I think his big test would have been Sean O'Malley, but obviously that fell through, and he did beat Rob Font, which is good, but Rob's his best days are behind him. He's old now, and he doesn't really have a good chin, so that wasn't extremely impressive. And yeah, I just think he loses to the better strikers in the division, like maybe Corey Sandhagen. I think he's got a matchup with him coming. I don't know if he gets a win. He could, but I wouldn't say it's a guaranteed win. I think it's 50-50. But I think if he fights Sean probably beats him this time. He definitely loses to Aljamain. I think Aljamain's wrestling is too much for Cheeto. I don't think his wrestling is good enough. And yeah, he definitely loses to Cejudo as well. So yeah, Marlon Cheeto Vera is overrated. He's got a good chin, I'll give him that. His cardio, people say he's got good cardio, but I kind of disagree. I think he just doesn't throw many strikes, so it's kind of hard to gas out when you're not really putting on pressure. He just kind of stands there and takes loads of punches, so they gas out before him because he can absorb a lot of damage without it really affecting him, which is impressive in itself. But I don't think he'll ever be champion, and I think he'll be in the top five for the good majority of his career until it maybe starts to fall off in like 5 years. So moving on. Featherweight, we've got Brian Ortega. Now, Brian Ortega, minus his win over the Korean Zombie, I don't think he has one impressive win in his entire career. I'm pretty sure that everyone else he's beaten, except the Korean Zombie, is not in the top 15 anymore. He has got a lot of impressive finishes, don't get me wrong, but obviously he lost to Yair Rodriguez in an injury, but I mean, he makes it out like it was a fluke injury, but Yair Rodriguez did kind of put him in a position deliberately where that would happen, so it's hardly a fluke injury. And also, he was kind of losing that fight anyway, and obviously when he went against Max Holloway, he looked like a walking punching bag, so that was never good for him. And when he went to Volk, although he nearly submitted him twice, he ended up just getting loads of damage, which is bad for his life and his career and his future, really, because that amount of damage is really gonna change him, which is a shame because he seems like a nice guy. But yeah, I don't think Brian Ortega can be champion, and I think he's going to be a gatekeeper of the featherweight division in the future. I think that damage is really going to add up, and we're going to see a decline in him, which is a shame, to be honest, because I really did like the way he fought. He left it all out there in the cage. But yeah, right, moving on to lightweight. I know he fights at featherweight too, but we've got Dan Hooker. Dan Hooker is very bad in my opinion. I think he's very overrated. He's slow. He doesn't really have much power, and he doesn't have very good grappling at all. And yeah, I just really think if as soon as he fights an opponent within the top 10, he loses. But I think he should fight Paddy the Baddy probably. I think that's a fight he can probably win. I'm not sure though. But yeah, he obviously lost to Islam. He went on like a 3-fight losing streak. He got knocked out by Chandler. He lost to Islam Makhachev. Then he got finished by Arnold Allen at featherweight when he moved down. And he did have his moments in the Arnold Allen fight, but it was just a slugfest. So, and he's probably the bigger guy as well. So of course he was gonna, win a few of those exchanges there. But he did end up getting finished against the fence. But yeah, I just think he probably has more success at featherweight. Because he's fighting smaller guys, so it's harder for them to grapple him and stuff. But obviously, he's near the end of his career. He's in his mid-30s, I think. So yeah, I think he should just maybe retire before he takes too much damage, or go for them easier fights against maybe very, very low ranked opponents, like the 12 to 15 range in the lightweight division, or maybe fight Paddy the Baddy or some unranked prospects, just to get a bit of money and then end his career with a bit of dignity, unlike some people who just fight and get finished in all of their last few fights. So yeah, moving on. Welterweight, we've got Kevin Holland. Now, Kevin Holland, he is entertaining to watch and he's funny, but he cannot wrestle, okay? And I know his offensive wrestling is okay, he took down Wonderboy, but chose to stand him up, which is completely fine. He just wanted to give the fans what they wanted, so that's not a complaint. But his defensive wrestling is bad, okay? Every fight he could have won, he's lost it because of his lack of defensive wrestling. He was kind of winning against Vettori, but then Vettori would just take him down and hold him down and decision him, which is a shame. And obviously he loses to Chimaev. It's like a nightmare matchup for him, so I don't think anyone expected him to win that. But yeah, he just has no wrestling, and he spent a lot of time trying to improve his wrestling, and still it isn't good enough for the UFC. So yeah, he if he's gonna do well, he really needs to pick his fights carefully. He needs to fight more people like Wonderboy, where they're not gonna take you down. But the problem is his striking isn't as good as Wonderboy's, so he was getting pieced up by him anyway. So it wasn't really working that way either. So I think Kevin Holland can probably beat a few of the very low ranked guys like 15, 14, 13, 12 and 11, but I don't think there's any success for him after that unless it's against a striker and he can get like a lucky finish, because he can take a lot of damage. He's got a decent chin, and he's not a quitter, and he's fun to watch. So I do like him. He's fun to watch, but I do think he's a bit overrated. Moving on, middleweight. So I couldn't make my mind up here, so I've gone for two. So I've got Paulo Costa and Derek Brunson. So we're going to start with Paulo Costa. He is probably one of the best fighters I've got on this video today, but I do think he's slightly overrated. People call him a power puncher, but everyone he's finished is not ranked anymore. And I'm pretty sure most people he's fought aren't even in the UFC anymore. They're cut, they're gone. But he isn't even that powerful at punching, considering he looks very strong. I think he's less powerful than he looks. But anyway, obviously he lost to Adesanya, and he lost to Vettori in a war. But yeah, I think the Vettori fight is definitely a fight he probably should be winning, and he does do entertaining fights, but I just don't think he's ever going to be champion. I think he's going to be like a top 5 gatekeeper, kind of like a lot of other people in this list. His wrestling's okay, but he fought Luke Rockhold, and I was expecting him to knock Luke Rockhold out, to be honest. Luke Rockhold looked poor in that match, to be honest. He gassed so quickly, but he still couldn't find a finish. And Luke even managed to, have some moments against him, which just does highlight some problems in his game. But he's not terrible, and I think he can definitely improve. To be honest, he's not too old, so he can make some improvements to his game. And we've got Derek Brunson. Oh God, Derek Brunson. I can't believe he almost got a title shot. He almost got to fight Israel Adesanya when he was champ. If he won one more fight, I think Derek Brunson is one of the most overrated fighters ever. I can't believe he got to where he got to. I do like him, but his wrestling, which he relies on so heavily, it isn't even good. But the fact that the middleweight division does seem to have a bit of a skill problem, where not many of them are that good at all, unless you get to the really high rank guys. And yeah, he just managed to take down people who just had no clue how to defend takedowns or wrestle, like Darren Till and some others. But yeah, he has literally no striking, and when he can't get takedowns like Izzy Adesanya, when he couldn't take Izzy down, his entire plan is ruined, and he can't win because that he relies so heavily on it, in his striking so one dimensional. He was just getting pieced up by Izzy, and he was doing the worst panic shots I've ever seen because that's all he knows. And yeah, if this guy can't find a takedown, he will lose every fight. And even when he can find a takedown, he gasses out a lot just from his sloppy takedowns. Like against Jared Cannonier, he won the first round. He nearly won. He nearly submitted Jared Cannonier at the end of the round, and then he gets finished within like a minute of the next round or something. It was crazy, but yeah, Derek, he has a bit of a chin issue, and he has a big cardio issue too. His striking's bad, and I think he loses his next fight. I think he's fighting Dricus Du Plessis at 285, and I think he loses that, to be honest. Yeah, Dricus. I mean, if he's sharp in his striking, he can probably find a finish, to be honest. But and he's old too. I think he's 36 now, maybe 37, maybe 35. I don't know. But yeah. Anyway, moving on. So light heavyweight, we've got Anthony Smith, and Anthony Smith, I mean, he's got 17 losses. Okay, so immediately that's a bad sign. But it's not just that. He can beat people who aren't ranked or are ranked really low. So like Ryan Spann, he beats, right. Ryan Spann's quite a good matchup for him. Power puncher. Anthony Smith's stand up is decent, right. He doesn't get hit by too many big shots, but obviously he loses all the important fights. So he lost to John Jones, which isn't shameful at all. Jones a really good champion when he was light heavyweight champ. He was looking good against Teixeira, but then he just gassed so hard because he threw too many power shots in the first two rounds and just gassed completely. And yeah, he lost to Magomed Ankalaev recently. I mean, you can say it was an injury, but he was losing the fight anyway. So he just kind of, he got saved almost, really. But yeah, I just think Anthony Smith is overrated, to be honest. His striking's decent and his grappling's decent, but that's about it. Like, he has okay cardio and he has a good chin too. But most people in light heavyweight are quite well rounded for the most part. But I think he beats anyone who isn't in the top like 8, for example. Like, he can beat the Ryan Spanns of the division. But yeah, anyone who's got a good amount of skill, like the top 5, he loses to all of them really. But yeah, Anthony Smith, nice guy though, nice guy. So moving on to heavyweight, the final one, Chris Daukaus. Now, I do feel bad for Chris Daukaus. He's not had a very good run recently. Obviously, he got knocked out by Jairzinho Rozenstruik in about 20 seconds in one of the last events, which was awful to watch. But yeah, I just really don't think he's a heavyweight. I really don't. I think he's a middleweight at best. I think he could cut a lot of weight, and then he could fight much smaller people, and then obviously not have to worry about getting knocked out by every shot. Because I mean, his chin isn't even that bad. He's getting knocked out by big shots, so it's not bad. And he has got a few wins under his belt, but he's taken a lot of damage at heavyweight, which isn't good. And he struggles with the higher ranked guys, clearly. Like, obviously he got finished by Derek Lewis as well. So it's the power punches that are clearly a problem for him. So if I was him, I'd move down to middleweight, because I think he could. I don't even think he should be a light heavyweight, to be honest. He could be like a skinny, tall middleweight if he wants to cut some weight, and it'd also help his cardio as well, probably. If he adjusted before the cut. But yeah, Chris Daukaus, he's just not built for heavyweight. He's not strong enough. He's too small, and his striking's pretty bad considering it's what he focuses on. And it's a good thing there's not many wrestlers in heavyweight, otherwise he'd have even more problems. But yeah, Chris Dawkins should just move down to middleweight, and then I'm sure he can win some more fights. But yeah, that's my list, guys. Thanks for listening. Leave a like on the video and subscribe. And I'll be doing a lot more videos recently. I'm gonna stay dead active on the channel. Leave some comments down below, and if you agree, and if not, who do you think is some overrated fighters in UFC? But yeah, see you guys.